leg, fix the broken relationship, whatever the issue is, and run the race. Run the race. You have need of endurance. He goes, oh, be careful that bitterness does not spring up in your heart. Bitterness is so ridiculously sneaky. Bitterness is not like, I'm bitter, and you just walk around like a prune, like, I am bitter. I hate everything. Bitterness is not like that. Bitterness is cynical. Bitterness says, I already tried that. Been there, done that. Bitterness is, I did that when I was young. I was radical when I was a teenager, but you kind of lose your zeal as you get older. That's bitterness. That's bitterness. Cynicism, skepticism, unbelief, the inability to stir yourself up again because you've already tried it. You know, one of the primary ways I think we grow bitter is because of our own failure, because we're so tired of failing. I mean, I think that's one of the quickest ways I grow bitter, because I get tired of getting up and falling and sinning and then having to re-sign back up. And I think, I can't do this. Again, I'm accusing God's character. I can't be holy. I obviously am going to sin. So I'm just going to give up, give in. You're too hard. Holiness is too hard. I can't do it. That's bitterness. He goes, be very, very careful that you do not let bitterness spring up in your heart, because many, 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 many people get thrown off by bitterness. Oh my goodness. I know so many people, even as I'm getting older, I watch, the people around me get this, like, because I'm 30 now, and so I've been running hard for a while. And when I was 20, it was a little bit different. We were all kind of naive and like, we're going to all be martyrs. We're going to do this thing. We thought Jesus was coming back real soon. We thought we were all Joan of Arc and we were all going to be dead by 25. So we had our plan. And by 21, most of them were doing other things already. And then by 25, 26, 28, a lot of them, you can't even get them out from in front of their television right now. And the worst part is they already did it. They're cynical. We already did that thing. It's hard to get them motivated. Not impossible, but hard. The longer you walk with the Lord, it actually gets harder, not easier. Some aspects I'm sure get easier, but a lot of times young people are like, oh, we have it so bad because we're teenagers. Oh, and I'm like, yeah, wait until you're 50. When I see a 50-year-old, 60-year-old, 70-year-old, 80-year-old, 90-year-old fiery believer, I mean, it is like the most gorgeous reality. I go, they did it. They're not bitter. They're still running. I admire men and women of faith who have endured for decades massively, because that is not easy. That is not easy because of bitterness. And he says, be really, really careful that you do not get bitter. Be really, really careful. And he goes on and he talks about running this race. I had a dream, I'll just tell you real quick, and I'll close down here in a minute. I had a dream a while ago, and in the dream, it was really simple. And I was running a race. It was really Hebrews 12. I was running this race, but I was running up like a bridge that kind of went straight up, and it was completely oily and slippery, and it had a real sharp curve. I mean, it's like everything wrong was wrong. Up, curve, oily. I had a huge backpack on my back. My leg was literally broken, and I was barely moving. And I was running with a bunch of people, and I am just like huffing. I am like all the energy I can just to make my feet move. And I'm like dragging my leg, and I'm going, goodness, I can't even run this race. And then I passed someone from the previous generation, someone who's older than me. And this person, their leg was completely crushed. They were sobbing, and had to stop on the side of the road. And I knew when I looked at them, they weren't going to finish the race. And I heard a voice coming from this person And it was a song they were singing. We didn't want the sorrow. We didn't want the pain. We didn't want the sorrow. We didn't want the pain. And I knew instantly that that generation didn't have a doctrine, not all of them by any means, I'm talking broad, did not have a doctrine for the God of pressure. And they ended up offended and on the sidelines, many of them, not all of them. Again, there are some mighty men and women who have endured. But I knew when I saw them, they weren't going to finish. And then my people, me, we were barely moving. Like everybody has this idea, oh, the young people, they're the radical ones. This is the generation. This is the Joel generation. I'm like, whatever. This generation, we are barely moving. Barely moving. I mean, we are so full of humanism and comfort and just fun and way more lazy than any other generation that I've ever seen. I mean, just being real. And we like our games and we like our stuff and we like to hang out and we just love to just do nothing. It's so fun. And we're the radical generation? Like, please. But the Lord is going to have his way, and he's going to wake up a generation. And it says in Hebrews 12, he goes, get ready, because once again, I'm going to shake everything. And he instantly goes to the Great Tribulation. He starts to prophesy of a future generation that would be alive in the generation that he comes back. He's quoting Haggai. He's talking about the glory of the latter temple. He goes, I am going to shake everything, and you have received a kingdom that cannot be shaken. There will be a generation that will run this race with endurance, and that will finish stronger than the race began. And he will do whatever it takes to make it happen. He's going to take the globe like this and shake this globe and loose us from everything that gets in the way. He's going to pry our fingers off of our video games, off of our movies, off of our distraction. He's going to pry our fingers off of our unbelief and our humanism. And he's going to shake everything. And when he shakes everything, when the governments start to break, when the economy starts to break, and it will, when the global pressure, you can't endure the personal pressure. Well, then the writer of Hebrews goes from personal to corporate to global. He goes, there is a global pressure coming, and you are forerunners. You are messengers who are trained in the furnace of affliction that's in your life now. If you will get the message, if you will go through the fire, go through the affliction, learn my heart, get a testimony of my faithfulness and my kindness, you might have something to say when I create a pressure that's about to hit the globe that we do not understand. He says he's going to shake everything that can be shaken. And only the kingdom that cannot be touched, his kingdom, which primarily starts on the inside of our hearts, only what's going on the other side of your face, and a little bit of what we're doing in the political arena, a little bit, some of what we're doing outside will remain as well if it's done in righteousness, but only what's done in righteousness is going to stand. He goes, I will have a generation who will run this race. And we need to get the 5-year-olds ready. My people, we need to look at the kids and be like, we're not moving so fast, but we're gonna try. Like, we are going to get the backpack off, fix the broken leg. We're gonna do our best to run, and we're gonna get a young generation ready for the return of the Lord, because we want to give the Lamb what he's worth, because he ran with endurance, and he wants an equally yoked bride who's equally yoked in courage and love and strength. And it takes courage to run the race. He goes, it will happen, and I will make sure it happens, because I am an all-consuming fire, and I want you, oh generations. I want you. I will do whatever it takes to get you. I am an all-consuming fire. He goes, I am an all-consuming fire. If the people in the old covenant, he says, if they got judged because they didn't believe what Moses spoke, they got judged and they had to wander around the wilderness. They couldn't enter into rest. He goes, how much more if you don't rise to the occasion? You've come to Mount Zion. You've come to a multitude of angels. You've come to a great cloud of witnesses. You've come to Jesus, the mediator of the covenant. You've come to Jesus. You've come to Jesus. You've seen the real deal. Loose yourself from the bonds of your neck. Shake yourself from the dust. Let us run the race with endurance. Let us fight the fight of faith to the end. And let us prepare the kids for what's about to hit the planet, because he's about to shake everything. And if you don't have a theology of God who's going to shake everything, you need to read your Bible. He's going to shake everything. This is New Testament. New Testament. After Jesus was resurrected from the dead, he says, I am going to shake everything. I don't think that's a gentle shake. I'm going to shake everything. Therefore, let us run with endurance. And then, to top it off, you have to read chapter 13. He breaks it down really simple to what it means to run the race. And he talks about brotherly love, godly marriages. I mean, he's like really practical. Like we think wholehearted radicalness is like some kind of volume or something. I don't know what we think radical is. He goes, it's basic, it's holiness, it's righteousness, it's living from the inside out.